Assalamu alaikum. I had a long day today. I just came back from work, and everybody who knows what I do, they know I'm pretty exhausted by the time I come back home. This video is about marriage. Um, Not necessarily about marriage in Islam, but about me um, finding a husband and then getting married. I've had maybe two or three sisters, I think, ask me, when am I going to look for a husband or find a husband? And all I can say right now is that I'm not really in a hurry. I mean, I'm not getting any younger. I am in my late 20s, so I don't want to wait too long, but at the same time, I'm not trying to run down the aisle. You know that saying, Shahada today, married tomorrow. I'm not trying to really marry a stranger. I'm not really trying to do that. Um, the Islamic marriages I've seen where people kind of ran down the aisle, their marriages are pretty much over. There's only a handful that I guess I can say are still married. The rest are either about to get divorced or maybe getting divorced. But I'm kind of guessing because I haven't heard from some of them, so I actually shouldn't be saying that because I'm assuming. So just forget I said all that. But basically, back to the subject. Um, I was asked would I like to get married? Of course I would, but I just don't want to marry somebody who makes all these promises but doesn't carry out any of them. It just seems that sometimes when a man is ready to get married, you can say, I want $1 million mansion with a unicorn, and I want a chef, I want a chauffeur, and he's like, yes, I will give you everything. I will give you the world wrapped in a beautiful box with gold wrapping. And because they're such in a hurry to get married, and even the women are in a hurry to get married. Everything seems beautiful, especially if you're a young woman. You've never really been with a man, and you're just so in love with this man because he's really the first man to buy you flowers and try to be romantic and tell you little sweet things, and you're like, oh, mashallah, oh, I think I'm in love. Well, here's the reality check. I think before you marry someone, your wali or your wakil needs to do some serious research on this person. They are here for your own protection. They are here to protect you from being exploited and being married to a crazy man. Okay? Now, a lot of people will go around the wakil. A lot of men will marry non-Muslim sisters. It just seems like they just don't want to go through the effort of going through a wakil or wali, which to me is kind of a weak attempt at finding a wife. If you truly want to live an Islamic life, then why would you marry a non-Muslim woman, especially if you're raising Muslim children? I'm not saying if she converts, alhamdulillah, just like anybody else, but why go through all that when there's a Muslim sister waiting for you? So I just think it's kind of petty how you just marry non-Muslim women, but that's a whole other video. But you need to really check who this person is. Like, you need to know their background check. Like, you need to know if they've been in and out of jail, their credit score, what are their future plans, have they been married before? I mean, it's not just about their deen, like, that's very important, but it's also about who is this person? Who are you marrying? Oh, mashallah, he prays 5 times a day, but he smokes weed all the time. I mean, you really need to know who you're marrying. I mean, you're marrying somebody who may be HIV positive, who may have chlamydia. I mean, you seriously need to get tested. I remember I went to a marriage conference. I'm not at the masjid. Was it in June or in May? I can't remember. But there was I think he was somebody's wali or wakil. I can't remember which one he was. But it was for a young lady who was smitten with this man, just in love with this man, about to marry him. And of course, he's a smart dude. He's been around. He knows how men are. And, the brother who wanted to marry the sister gave 3 references. Well, of course, he called them, he explained to each one, this brother gave me your number as a referral, and he's trying to marry so-and-so's sister. And they're like, oh, mashallah, yeah, he's a good brother, alhamdulillah, blah, blah, blah. So he said, okay, do you fear Allah? And they were like, yeah, we fear Allah, yeah. And he was like, no, do you fear Allah? And they're like, yeah. And he was like, do you know that this sister's about to marry this brother, and if something happens to her and you gave a false testimony, do you know you are also held accountable for what happens to her? Well, of course, they changed their tune from, oh yeah, he's a good brother, to, well, we don't really know the brother like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, he helps out, he comes to the masjid and stuff, but I don't know the brother like that. Wow. This sister was about to just marry this dude who basically, to me, was hiding something that he didn't want her to know. I don't remember what he said in the end. I think the dude did have some issues. So there was another sister who married a dude, and the FBI came knocking on her door. Why? Because he had killed his previous wife. I mean, please know who you're marrying. And also, a lot of these foreign marriages, you're meeting these brothers from like Morocco and Nigeria and just all these other countries, and you're marrying this person legally, and he doesn't even have any papers. He has a visa that's about to expire, and you kind of have to ask, is he marrying me for the sake of Allah, or is he marrying me for the sake of a visa or a green card? I mean, people really need to think about these. I mean, people do not always come to you with the best of intentions. So and that's big in Islam, your intentions. What are your intentions? Some men just want to be married so they can have lawful intercourse. They don't probably want to be with you for like a really long time. And I think that that's really disgusting, and it's like you meet a lot of Muslims who aren't even 30 yet, and they've been married so many times. They've been divorced and married, and imagine the sister who marries the wrong brother, has kids, doesn't work, stays at home. He decides to divorce her. Now she has no job, she has all these kids. It's either A, she stands up on her own 2 feet, she finds a job and she supports her kids, or B, she goes again into another quickie marriage, which she really may not even know this person, just so she'll have some type of financial support. I mean, I've done videos on sisters being able to financially support themselves, having a backup plan just in case. I just don't want to marry just so I can have sex. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not getting married just for sex. I'm getting married for long-term companionship, and to have somebody in my life. It's also fulfilling part of my deen, alhamdulillah. So I'm not trying to get married just so I can roll around in bed. I'm trying to get married so things can last forever. I'm not trying to marry somebody who has mental issues. I'm not trying to marry someone who mixes deen with culture. Like, I've met a lot of brothers who still have these busted ways, even though they're Muslim. Like, they're Muslim, but they want to go to the club. They're Muslim, but they want to have sex with you before marriage. They're Muslim, but what else? They want to marry a second wife, even though they know that they have no way of barely taking care of the first one. And I'm just saying, research who you're marrying, okay? Now, there are tons of success stories. Oh, I only knew him for a month or a few weeks, and we've been married for 20 years. Alhamdulillah. I'm not saying that's not possible, but you need to be very careful who is putting a ring on your finger. That person may not be sincere. You know, I just think you need to take certain things. Is he stable? Is he responsible? Does he fear Allah? Excuse me, that's number one. Does he fear Allah? Because if he is Allah, there's certain things he will never even do to you. And the same applies to you. Are you on point? What else are you bringing to the table? I mean, are you just bringing your private parts? I mean, what are you bringing? My time is up, so I may have to make a part two. Assalamu alaikum.